is 9 News at 10.
I'm outside, I'm driving.
We're coming. I'm gonna break this window. We're breaking the window.
People are waving and flagging us down, screaming for help.
It was 2 inches when I left this morning, and it's now about 3 feet in my house.
As we speak tonight, people are still trapped. People are still being pulled from rooftops, and thousands of homes are underwater.
We have team coverage here at 10 of the heartache, the hope, and the heroes. These are 2 aerial photos of Denham Springs in Livingston Parish, and that parish is still very much in a crisis mode tonight.
It is. We have on the phone with us right now Sheriff Jason Ard with the Livingston Parish Sheriff's Office, the sheriff out there. Sheriff Ard, good evening to you. We spoke just a few moments ago. I know your parish is in bad shape right now. Are things getting any better at all?
They sometimes they are better, but it's not going to be better until we get everyone out. And it's been very difficult. It's very tough for us to serve and protect. That we try so hard to get in there to rescue people, and we've done a good job. And it's not just the law enforcement; it's the firefighters, it's our community. Livingston Parish as a whole has rescued thousands of people, but there's still thousands of people to be rescued, and we're not going to stop until we get them rescued. And it's really tough, and it's challenging, but we're doing the best we can, and the citizens are really working with us. They understand when they call and they know that we're taking on water. It's hard for us to kind of, tell them, look, we got to prioritize. We have someone stuck in the attic on a rooftop. Yours is just coming in. You have to wait till we get there, and it's just tough, but it's something we have to do. But the main thing that we focused on so far, we haven't lost a life, and that's the main thing is safety, and we're going to continue to do that because we want people to be safe, and that's the biggest thing we're trying to do is get people safely out and to their families.
Is there any estimate how many requests for rescue still remain?
Every time I ask the question since this started, I get the same answer: over 175 to 200, and it has to stop.
Wow.
And I know we've rescued, like I said, at least a couple thousand, and it's probably a lot more than that. I'm just using a safe number. And there's no telling how many rescues were made that we didn't even know about. So, and this is, like I said, it's a continuing effort. We have some challenging areas where you can drive to it and you have to put a boat in. Once you get the boat to the other side, you got another 5 miles of dry land. So it's impossible to get to people in certain areas.
Sheriff, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Are there certain, and I think this is kind of where you might have been going, are there certain areas that are worse off than others, or is this just kind of widespread right now?
Obviously it's devastating parish-wide. However, the North Albany area early on was an area we were worried about, and of course Watson, Bend Road area, they worked all night rescuing people, and to the wee hours, probably to about midday today. That was very scary, and then it kind of moves on down until you get to Film Springs, and they kind of got the South Denham, and right now the South Denham, South Satsuma area is getting hit hard right now. And so we just watched it kind of move around our community, and it's been really tough. But some of those rural areas up in the North Albany area, we've had, it's actually North Holden. We've had a couple of areas where you can't get to them like you can launch a boat. Once you get your boat to the other side, then you got miles to try to cover. So it's difficult, and those kind of things are very challenging. But we're not giving up. The military showed up. The state has helped us tremendously. Our governor met with me today, and he's been a big help to us. Past President Ricks and Mark Harrell are from LOSEP, and they just have been really done just a really good job coming together, giving us what we need to make this happen. And Louisiana Sheriff's Association, we called them out. We've been sending deputies from all over. Baton Rouge City answered our call like we answered theirs. It's just what we do together, and so it's been, as like I said, it's been challenging, but it's nice to know you have your brothers right there behind you.
And it's not like y'all are going to bed here. It's a little bit after 10 o'clock. I mean, this is continuing on. And I was talking to Parish President Ricks earlier, and I mean, Livingston is such a huge parish. You have such high, I mean, just a lot of ground to cover. And you're going, I mean, y'all are working straight through.
Yes, we can't sleep. You know, I've been up since 4 o'clock yesterday morning, and we're going to stay up until we get all these people rescued, and it's just what we have to do. And we got 141,000 people in our parish, and there's a lot of people just in distress right now and in need. And so these deputies are, and you know, one of the things that a lot of people may not realize, we have about 35 deputies that have lost their homes. We have several firefighters that's lost their homes, and public officials that lost their homes. And you know, that those things are devastating. And you know, they wipe their eyes, they roll their sleeves up, and we're going to keep going and until we get this done.
You know, there is a lot of wiping of the eyes out there. Last thing I have for you, you had to evacuate your jail this evening. Can you give us an update on that?
Yeah, so we started taking in water, and we basically didn't want to get in a situation where with all the rescues going on, then we had something else to deal with. And plus, you have a lot of families that may have loved ones in there, and we just wanted to make sure we was able to get them out safely, and get them to a place where we didn't have to worry about them. The state worked real well with us. Secretary LaBall was a big help with that, and so we have shipped them, and they'll be there until we can get things back right again.
That's got to be a funny feeling, an empty prison there, something that's just, it's unheard of what you're dealing with there in Livingston Parish. Godspeed to you guys and all of your staff and everybody that I know you're pitching in with, all kinds of folks. So if y'all need anything, give us a holler, and we'll do the same.
We will, and thank you so much for allowing us to communicate with a public preview.
Thank you, Sheriff, and Godspeed to you, man.
Thank you.
All right.
God bless you.
Time now to check with Chief Meteorologist Jay Grimes with your first alert forecast.
Hey guys, before we get into the weather, just the impact of thinking about the number of people out there, the first responders who know that when they get off shift, they're going back home to their own problems, and yet they're out there doing the work. Hats off to all of them. We've got a little bit of good news on radar. You'll notice that for the most part, the rains have finally worked their way off to the west. Most of the rain now on the western side of the Atchafalaya Basin. Still going to have some sprinkles in the area, an occasional shower through the overnight. So it's not going to be an all-night dry out, but at least what rain does fall won't amount to much. Here's the 6-hour rainfall, and you can see that again across much of the area, and especially over Jason Ard's parish there, Livingston Parish. Really not much rain over the last 6 to 12 hours or so, and across EBR Parish it's been relatively quiet, although you don't have to go far to the west, and you start seeing some rain totals that are getting up to 2, 3, maybe even 4 inches of rain just over the last 6 hours. Had a lot of questions about comparing this event to past flood events, so let's take a real quick look at it. We'll start with Tropical Storm Allison. For many of you remember that one. Of course, that was the one that dumped anywhere from 15 to 20 inches of rain across the area. Now, they aimed at Denham Springs, and what I'm going to do is show you a comparison of this storm and that one back in June 2001. The Amite at Denham Springs crested at under 40 feet, 38 feet there. Now, area rainfall for that event, 14 to 20 inches. So pretty similar to what we've seen this time, maybe a little bit less, but in the same general ballpark. Here are the differences. While the rainfall totals were similar, first of all, that event was stretched out over a little bit of a longer period. This event has been much more concentrated, about half the time, 7 to 8 days back in June of 2001, more like 4 days or so in this event here. But more importantly was, if you remember way back then, it was Allison that broke that multi-year drought. So the environment was incredibly dry. It was capable of handling a good bit of that before we really started to see the rivers go up. So there's Tropical Storm Allison, and that answers some questions. Of course, maybe the better question is, how about the granddaddy of them all before this event, back in April of 1983? Here we're talking about a river cresting at 41.5 feet, so we're going to be well above that. We're going to 46 feet officially. And I think we may get even a little bit above that before all is said and done. Now notice that event, rainfall was considerably less. So how could it have been less rain and yet more in terms of a higher cresting compared to June of 2001? Well, that event back then wasn't nearly as wet as this one. Same duration, about 4 or 5 days, but here's the big difference there. We had a very wet winter and spring leading up to April. In fact, for those of you, the old timers, will remember that we had a flood in December of 82, so there was already one flood, and then flood went back, or the river went back into flood in April of 83. A very wet winter and spring, and that meant that it took less rain to create that monster flood. Here's what our 24-hour RPM is showing, and here we go through the overnight hours. Nice and quiet. That's what we like to see. You do see, though, there is some rain around the area, and exactly where that rain falls, we're not that good to tell you. So some of you are going to get some rain tonight, but it won't amount to much. And heading into the day tomorrow, you probably saw some passing showers. Yeah, get ready to have to pull out the umbrella. But the total rainfall over the next 24 hours is not going to even equal as much as an inch. That is very good news, especially when you compare it to the last few days. So one river here, I'll show you this one, the Comita Jor, and then we'll get the rivers updated for you in just a few minutes. At 34 feet right now, expected to crest at 34.5. It may not quite get there, but it's certainly close enough to call it basically a good forecast. And more importantly, this is an all-time record. Big wet event, and we're looking at what hopefully will be cresting of the Comite overnight tonight, and that means probably a lot of the tributaries in East Baton Rouge Parish will also start to level out. So if you're still worried about water coming up in the parish, I think along and outside of the Amite Basin, along the course of the Amite, I think most of us are probably seeing water sort of hitting its peak right about now, or maybe in the next 6 hours or so. But keep in mind, with this river so high, it's going to be a while before some of those tributaries start to fall. Let's get back to the desk, and again, we'll update you on the other rivers shortly.
All right, Jay Grimes, thank you very much. We also want to welcome in our listeners on Talk 107.3, our news partners there. So they are monitoring our extended coverage here tonight. And some folks in St. Gabriel are going to want to hear this for sure.
Yeah, we just got this update on a leak. Chemical leak in Geismar. Workers briefly thought they had it contained, but they've discovered it is still leaking. The Iberville Sheriff's Office says a sulfuric acid leak at the Honeywell plant sent a white cloud off-site, and shelter in place continues at this hour. Now the order is close your windows, turn off AC. It affects homes and 2 prisons between the plant in Geismar and Highway 74 in St. Gabriel. So that's a lot of people. We're talking about thousands involving the prisons. Iberville Sheriff spokesman James Snelson says he will give us another update as soon as he gets one.
All right, so that shelter in place, obviously turn off your air conditioning as you heard and stay inside. You see this, you hadn't seen it in quite some time. I-10 is reopened right there at Bluebonnet. That water has I guess receded enough to get folks through, and they had been down to a shoulder at one point and then completely closed. Now things are moving on I-10, but Donna, it's a different story on I-12.
Yeah, I-12, hundreds of people are still trapped, but slowly being rescued. Our Liz Coe is one of the ones who has been stuck with water on both sides. Liz?
Hey, good evening to you, Don and Greg. That's right, we're on I-12 westbound right now. Right now, 10:10, about 10:11. This marks 12 hours since we've been trapped on this interstate here. Again, many people have been trapped on here, especially on the eastbound side. Since early this morning, the westbound side has been overcome with water. Much of the roadways already, both lanes have been covered with water. I'm going to move over here and talk to some folks who've actually been stranded out here with us. Hi, Kathy. I know we spoke earlier, but I'm going to have you tell me, what time have you been out here, and what's it been like?
Since 9 o'clock, and the water's coming up really, really, really fast.
And tell me, where do you live, and where were you trying to go?
In Denham Springs to New Orleans.
Trying to evacuate, huh?
Yes.
And tell me, you've got your whole family ready to make your way down there?
Yes, I got my animals. I grabbed them.
What's it been like to be stuck out here?
Miserable. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go somewhere instead of here.
What have you been doing for the past, really, 10, 11 hours?
charging my phone constantly, checking Facebook to make sure other family members are okay. Just stressing.
Hang in there. I know that where help is on the way, as we've heard before, but thank you. Thanks so much for chatting with us. Again, as I mentioned before, help is on the way. I spoke to Livingston Parish President Leighton Ricks earlier on the phone. He says the plan is to evacuate all the stranded motorists on the interstate as quickly as possible. Obviously, with the magnitude of people and vehicles on the road, it's going to take some time. We spoke to a couple officials earlier who estimate at least 10,000 people are out on this road stranded. If we can cut to that video that we sent in earlier, there's a road along I-12 westbound. I think it's James Chapel Road. We saw a National Guard unit evacuating some people and picking them up there for in a high water rescue truck. Again, we have heard that the plan is to evacuate all the stranded motorists here and get them to a shelter to get food and water and whatever supplies they need. You heard Sheriff Ard earlier just saying that the area between Holden and Albany is part of the worst hit area, and we actually spoke to a couple residents who live in Holden who have not yet been evacuated. He said there's still quite a few neighbors who have yet to be evacuated, and they're trying to help their neighbors via boat right now. But we're in the area where the water is creeping on to the interstate fairly quickly, and we're waiting to see some rescue vehicles come out here to get as many people as they can. Something I do want to share with you is two citizens, one from Metairie, one from New Orleans. One purchased a high water vehicle at an auction, and they made their way through here and came to Livingston Parish to rescue people. And they just made their way. They're working with state police, and they wanted to get to families with children, with babies under a year old, and they loaded up the vehicle, made their way down I-12 westbound to get as many families as they could, and they're taking them to a hotel in Covington. But as of now, still many motorists, and including us, stranded here overnight until help is on the way. So for now, that's we're live here in I-12 westbound.
Well, you know, Liz, that's probably something you'll never have to do ever in your career. At least we hope not again. If we still have you, we said earlier that the people were coming to you. It seems like it's taken a little while to get help to you. Do you know where they're going to take you guys? Okay, I'm sorry. We lost her, and hopefully she'll be able to get a little bit of rest. But
she's right there at Holden.
Sure.
All right, but the interstate, if you travel over to Denham Springs, I mean, the things they are seeing over the side is just devastation.
And people were asking, well, why can't you just turn around? There's literally water behind them and water in front of them, and there's nowhere to go. They're like on an island on I-12, and Kathy, the woman she interviewed, was didn't have a whole lot to say, but do you blame her? She's been out there for 12 hours. And
very tedious, and you've got to think about the needs that humans have within 24 hours, you know, and you're in a very public place. It's very hard on them.
All right, Kieran Challa is also in Livingston Parish and has been there for quite some time. She followed this report for us to kind of give us an inside look at what our neighbors are dealing with there.
It's apocalyptic, as she would say. I mean, I've just never seen nothing like this. It came up so fast.
For miles, all you see is rooftops or homes half underwater. This is along Cockerham in Denham Springs. The only way around Denham today? By boat.
10 foot, almost 10 foot over from my house. It's not good.
Everything's over. My car's up to the roof. Everything, dude. Everything's flooded.
Anywhere between a few feet to 10 feet of water inside homes, and it came up very quickly.
It's rising. It's about 3 to 6 inches an hour. It's rising pretty fast. Amen Church Road's totally under. My parents' houses, they had about probably 2.5, 3 feet in it.
He was up at 4, went to bed at 4, walked outside, wasn't even flooded.
It's waist deep right now.
I woke up at 6, and as soon as I walked outside, I let the dog out. I had about a foot of water.
This is River Road and Railroad Avenue, a trailer submerged, and beneath all of this are train tracks somewhere. Families packed whatever they could, grabbed their dogs, and headed to higher ground. Just like this family, walking, rolling a suitcase, packing anything they could. Or here, horses with their phone numbers on them in case they get separated.
I'm 75 and I've never seen anything like this before. It's just horrible because when you get my age and things, around my house, it never flooded. You pay off your place and you drop your flood insurance, you have no flood insurance, and now it's all gone.
83, it barely got up in my yard. And I live right off the river. 3:30 this morning, everything was underwater. I mean, it's 3 or 4 foot deep in my house.
We tried to get up this morning about 5 and knock on everybody's windows and help everybody we could and try to at least make them aware of it. But we lost our vehicles. Everybody lost their vehicles, and you know, just praying there was no loss of life. We can replace everything we got, but can't replace each other. So
The National Guard has been rescuing as many as they can. State police troopers in full uniform going in for those stranded. People pulling their own bateaus or helping others to get people out from the worst of the worst. In this case, this little girl is only 5 days old. Her dad put her in a truck bed and trailered their boat to higher ground.
by the boat over here, tried, and in a truck. Military tires on it, barely even make it.
This is Magnolia Beach Road. Over and over, you look around in any direction. All you see is some kind of boat going in to rescue or coming out with parents holding their children tight, or people with vests on with everything in just one bag.
Anybody need medical attention? Get the babies out of here.
And this school bus picked up stranded people and took them to a shelter, Bethel Baptist Church in the town of Livingston.
Losing everything, but I'm glad I got out alive.
It's amazing. I've never seen nothing like it.
Livingston Parish, it is suffering so much. You see so much taken away from people. They're watching things they worked hard to buy in their lives, their cars, their homes, and it's devastating to see that go. But you hear them. They are feeling blessed to have their lives.
They are, and I can't say it any better than that. To just imagine losing your house, your car, everything. You're obviously thankful you have your life, but it's hard to start over from that. And good news is those are very good people in Livingston Parish, and they'll band together. They've already banded together, so that is good news there. This is a piece of video we're going to show you now. Is something we first aired several hours ago. It took our breaths away. This is Tiger Bend, just a dramatic rescue. This has now made it around the world, literally. Folks sharing it like crazy on the internet. And when you see it, if you haven't seen it, or if you know some friends that want to get in the room, tell them to get in the room now, because this shows exactly what happens when we do pull together and do what's best to save lives. If these people would not have come along, in this video you're about to see, this woman would have died. She makes it and her dog make it, we'll let you know that. But when you see it, it's just hard to believe that these guys are not, as one person put it on Facebook, angels in the water.
Do you have something?
Yeah.
Get out! Give me a knife. Give me a knife. Give me a knife. We're coming.
Watch your eyes.
Knife.
Hey, I put the top.
Watch your eyes.
Go.
Breaking the window.
Put the top when I drown.
Go.
Hey, yo. Oh my God, I'm drowning.
We're coming. We're coming. I'm gonna break this window. We're breaking the window. Do you have a knife? Do you have a knife? You do that. Tell me if you have a knife. I'll find out.
I don't know. Oh, that's not. Get my dog.
Her dog.
Get my dog. Get my dog down. I'll go down.
Hold on.
Hang on.
We can't get the dog. Here. Oh. I can't get the dog.
Here's it.
Maybe she's gone.
No, she better not be. I've been having her.
I got your dog.
Oh!
Oh, you.
Swim to the boat. Swim to the boat.
Oh, let me hit the boat. Oh, I'm sorry.
With both of them safe, let us hear from our rescuers now.
As I busted open the back, first instinct was just to get a hold of her and pull her out, and couldn't do it from the boat, so I just jumped in. Had to do what I had to do. That car was completely submerged, and I was just took a deep breath, held it, and just kept feeling around. And eventually I felt something furry and yanked the dog out, and luckily the dog was still conscious.
Wow.
Heroes. Robbie Reynolds, our reporter, filmed that and witnessed it. An amazing story delivered for everyone to appreciate.
David Fung there, the hero. We said earlier, Fung for governor, just because he's just a phenomenal. Nothing against John Pell Edwards, but that kid right there, I tell you, he jumped in and did what he needed to do. And so if he ever wants to run for public office, I'll get on his team just for saving that woman's life.
Easy peasy to elect him.
Jay Dixon also in the boat with them. And so right there on Tiger Bend, a street we've all been on, and in the middle of all that heroic stuff. Let's get to Gonzales now and check on our folks there. Elizabeth Vow has spent the day there. City Hall took on water, other places. Let's check in with Liz now.
This has got to be the worst I've seen.
It only took a few hours for floodwaters to creep up to the Gonzales City Hall and into the building.
And not only through the sandbag, but actually like through the brick itself.
Gonzales Mayor Barney Arsenault says water in the canals and bayous in the city headed the wrong way, overflowing their banks and flooding like never before.
As it stands right now, the water just has nowhere to go. And so the concern that we've got right now that in the next day, maybe 2 or 3 days, that we could get some backwater.
As water creeps into neighborhoods, law enforcement has shut down roads. Some stranded residents hiking in and out to retrieve essentials.
It's really bad. There's huge branches. It goes up to right here on my knee. The current's strong, but yeah, it's really deep.
The mayor says they've rescued about 20 people so far from neighborhoods like this overtaken by water, but the real concern moving forward is pressure building on the levees.
The concern is that we're going to reach some historic levels of flooding in the parish, and they may be overtopped in some areas. That's the biggest concern.
The Ascension Parish Homeland Security Director Rick Weber says so far there is no sign of trouble at the parish's pump stations and levees, but crews are watching closely. Meanwhile, the focus turns to helping those displaced.
We know we're going to need shelters. We know we're going to need volunteer support to help people that may be displaced from their homes. So that's going to be a big focus that we have over the next 48 hours.
A voluntary evacuation is underway for all parish residents, and a shelter has been set up at the Lamar Dixon Expo Center. A parish-wide curfew from dusk to dawn is also in place. Elizabeth Vowell, WAFB 9 News.
They have very good room at the Lamar Dixon.
They sure do. Take a look at this video. This is the Watson area. If you've been wondering something about what's going on in the Watson area, this is obviously a drone. It's done by Ryan Rushing. They start off at the Watson area right at Bend Road Bridge, and that is the Walmart there on 16. You saw it there. We're going to go back to it here in just a second. You also see the Cracker Barrel, a little bit of it in some of this video. There's a new Zaxby's that opened there. This is the Dollar Tree right there off of 16. This is just a little bit past Jubilee Estates. So a lot of water there in the Watson area. So many of you out there wonder about different neighborhoods and things, and this is obviously a landmark, and you can see a lot of the water is pretty much right there in that Walmart parking lot. Thankfully, it doesn't make it all the way to 16 in most parts, but then there is a lot of 16 that's still underwater. And a lot of it, that's the Papa John's right there off to the right, the Dollar General coming up. So for our friends and neighbors in Watson, that is what they're dealing with. It is in some of the homes there, so it's not just staying in that area. Let's move now to Zachary. Donna, this footage was shot by Ryan King. The story behind this is they went in yesterday to get his family, a 92-year-old grandmother. They got her out by a boat yesterday. This is in the Zachary area. You saw that pretty much familiar sign. Look at the car lot there, completely flooded.
All those cars.
That is Zachary Feed and Garden Supply. So this is right off the main drag there. The house that they were going to was raised about 12 feet, so they got the grandmother and other family out yesterday, but they couldn't get the dog and cats because the water was coming in too high. So they went back today, and they couldn't get anywhere near, that is Millwood Estates, I think. They couldn't get anywhere near the house, so they're going to go back and try again tomorrow. They've not given up, but imagine that house is 12 feet off the ground and it wasn't high enough. Thankfully, they're going to go back and try again tomorrow to get the dogs and cats out of there, but you can see that is what our friends in Zachary are dealing with tonight, and it has not gotten any better. Curfew still in effect for the people out there.
The deluge so intense for Zachary and for Baker. Our Scotty Hunter spent the day in Baker just watching the way they're having to scramble to take care of everyone.
Guys, we're not far from the intersection of Main Street and Groom Road here in Baker, where people are seeing some incredible sights here, some unbelievable sights. If you take a look with me, you can see this CVS pharmacy right near the intersection of Main and Groom is absolutely a pond here. And if you look this way, you can see this, what you're looking at is First Baptist Church, and across from that is Baker High School, absolutely underwater at this point. A lot of people have been coming through here. We've also seen some people on boats as well, going out to make some water rescues.
If you can get out, you better get out fast as you can.
Keyshawn Forrest is lucky to be alive tonight after spending Friday night trapped in her home with water rushing in. It's not the first time she's gone through intense flooding, but she certainly hopes it's the last.
I went through this with Katrina, and I got 4 small kids. This not what it is.
Our cameras were rolling as she was reunited with her 3-month-old baby just minutes after being rescued herself, brought to safety. She says the losses are rising just as quickly as the floodwaters.
We lost everything, and my children lost all their clothes. We lost everything, but clothes and material stuff, that's not what it is. The longer we still have our life, that's what matters to me.
The horror stories hit home with volunteers like Brandy Edgen. Watching the events play out on TV, she says she had to step in.
When I saw how bad that their houses were going under and how much that they lost, I figured I needed to do something to help them. I couldn't just sit at home and just sit there and watch all my friends go through all this devastation.
Volunteers have been braving the high water since morning. The team effort has become a well-oiled machine coordinated through the Baker and Zachary police departments.
The guys operating the boats, we have a lot of boats, and you know, as far as that goes, they're prepared and they know how to get in and get out.
And while suffering through losses of their own, Edgen says out of this tragedy comes a sense of community.
It's so remarkable to see how everybody comes together as a community, not only to help strangers in need, but everybody else that's in need.
As she and others help their community heal. In Baker, Scotty Hunter, WAFB 9 News.
Terrific volunteers out there in Baker. The new police chief out there, Carl Dunn, boy, he has just been plucking people out of anywhere they are. He's been able to be on the move. He's putting a lot of it on his Facebook page. And so a big salute out to him. I talked with the mayor tonight, just about an hour or so, maybe a little bit longer than that. Mayor Waits out there, also new to the job, and he told me they have water in the high school, water in City Hall, water in the fire station, water in the police station, water in the middle school, and the magnet school. So all the main buildings that you want to hope to run a city with have all taken on water, and they were sending their people to the F.G. Clark Activity Center there on Southern's campus. They're now full, so they're sending their people elsewhere, but that's what they're dealing with there in Baker. So the curfew is still in effect till about 6 o'clock tomorrow morning, and if you can, put up a prayer for the folks in Baker tonight, because they certainly need it.
Mm-hmm. Well, some of the people that are famous for helping here in Baton Rouge, and they are in North Baton Rouge, were in need of help themselves.
Salvation Army, we're good for doing disaster relief, helping our community out during times like this, but now, you know, we're the ones that need it as well. So in order for us to continue to help the community, we're going to need the community to help us like never before.
The Salvation Army Center on Airline Highway is underwater, and so this evening, those at the shelter were relocated to a temporary command center. They have another building on West Brookstown Drive because of the flooding, and these people have lost everything, the most important thing they need, food and supplies, including toiletries. In fact, the Salvation Army could use your help, and if you would like to help in other ways, the flood victims, call the Salvation Army at 225-355-4483. Now, let's check on Breck's Baton Rouge Zoo in Baker. It's been watching its water levels rising. The entry at the zoo, you see, that's over swollen Cypress Bayou. And then there are animals who actually like the rain or even play in the mud. But some animals sought shelter, like these fowls under the roof of the concession stand. Phil Frost, the zoo director, says the animals look good, but the ostrich and zebra yard is flooded, and this is a dry moat. It's supposed to be dry. The workers there, they have flood damages in their own homes, but they're still feeding and caring for our zoo animals.
And earlier, Cheryl Michelet with Breck said that one of the people even slept with in the zebra cage last night just to make sure that they were going to be safe, having all the water rush in there. So we're glad to see our animals are safe as well. We've been checking on the different humane societies, and if you all have any information on that, you can also pass it on to us. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to check in on the Glen Oaks neighborhood and others as our historic flooding coverage continues here on Channel 9.
I'm Robbie Reynolds here. Out at the Glen Oaks neighborhood in East Baton Rouge Parish.
All right, several places here in Baton Rouge took on some flooding, at least over by LSU. They had to do some rescues that we saw earlier. Our friends in Glen Oaks, they also had some damage tonight.
Yeah, Robbie Reynolds has a look for you of Glen Oaks today.
I'm Robbie Reynolds here out at the Glen Oaks neighborhood in East Baton Rouge Parish, and it is completely flooded. Just take a look down here and you can see I am completely covered up to knee-high in water. I've been walking through this entire time. I've been trying to get to Glen Oaks High School, but it is simply not possible getting there by foot or by car. So at this point, I've decided to turn back. But on my way over here, I've been talking with residents that live in this neighborhood, and they've been telling me their stories about how they've been coping with all of this flooding.
I called some of my family and friends, some of them in hotels. They live right around the corner, and it's all the way up to their carport, almost in their house. So,
What has it been like watching this develop through the weekend as you see this happen?
Heartbreaking, very heartbreaking. To wake up this morning and see the street flooded, I was so heartbreaking.
We're having plumbing problems now because of the rise of the water. And it's basically we just have to wait it out. There's no way you can deal with it other than waiting it out.
Residents tell me that they are good on food and they're ready to wait this out at this point. That's pretty much all they can do. Reporting in the Glen Oaks neighborhood, Robbie Reynolds, Channel 9 News.
All right, so Robbie was at Tiger Bend Road and at Glen Oaks, two very intense situations. And you just hope that they will not see further flooding.
Yes, let's hope things stay good for them as they, not good, but at least as best as they can, because it's going to be a long night. And speaking of a long night, this next video we're going to show you, a man actually stood or was in a tree that had fallen over in the water. He stood there and clung to that tree as long as he possibly could with the waters rushing through, and finally they were able to get to him and rescue him. And of course, if you saw it earlier today, it's the one where he's holding on to the tree and they literally pluck him up. The Coast Guard is putting him into a helicopter. And what do you think he thought about the whole time he was there? Well, we got a chance to ask him.
You've been out there since 11 o'clock. What was going through your mind? What were you thinking? You've been out there for hours.
I was thank God I had my cell phone, pretty much. I called 911 and I was just waiting for them to come get me. They said they couldn't really get to me at the time, I guess being dark and the current, how it is. So I just waited, and that's it.
Waited there with his cell phone. It's amazing just what people have been able to go through there. It's heartbreaking at one time, but then inspiring in the next.
Well, in Tangipahoa Parish, they also are suffering with flooding problems, and we sent Ryan Nakan to go check out Independence.
It's been a tough 24 hours for people here in Independence. You can see this is just one of the many spots where drivers tested the high waters and were unsuccessful. You see this 18-wheeler, it either sort of didn't know where the road ended or it was pushed across by the current. We were told that at times in this area right off of the interstate, it was hip deep in some areas, and this just kind of shows you how severe this storm was. Along a small stretch of Highway 1063 in Independence, floodwaters left a graveyard of cars in its wake.
We've been driving up and down these back roads, seeing if anybody was still left on their porch. And right up here, they got this car. It was about in the middle of the road, and just from this current being so heavy, it slowly edged it all the way, and now water's all the way up in the dashboard right now.
Dustin Gazzardo and his friends tracked through high waters and strong currents Saturday, helping those stranded by the floodwaters created by the swollen Natalbany River.
A lot of water down that road. We helped a guy with a boat fighting that current about a mile down the road trying to get up. Helped him out. Earlier we helped some about 4 ladies and a 3-month-old. They had a lot of water coming into the house and helped them with their bags, get to the car. So any way I can, I'm helping, man.
At least 200 that I saw come out.
Longtime Independence resident Emil Buffalo watched the National Guard rescue hundreds as water pushed higher and higher Friday night into early Saturday morning.
So I was trying to get around it earlier this morning to get over there to Mike's.
He says the water rushed through in a fraction of time.
My cousin from across the street, Billy, came beating on my door, telling me I got to get my car out of here. The water's coming up. I said, man, you crazy. I just looked. I walked in my carport and he was standing in water ankle deep. That's how quick it came up. Matter of 20 minutes.
Within an hour, it went from nothing to 3 foot of water in my neighbor's house.
The water fell slowly Saturday, but the powerful flood already tore through homes, discarding belongings, stranding animals throughout the area.
The water from the Natalbany River started coming across the interstate, and it came up so fast that we really didn't have time to get anything done. I got my sister-in-law out and brought her to my house, tried to help the neighbors block up the furniture, put sandbags, to no avail.
A lot of roads in this area are still closed off, and many of the roads that you try to get down, you simply just can't get through them unless you have one of those high water vehicles or some kind of boat. So the rescue effort is still ongoing here as well. In Independence, Ryan Nakan, back to you.
Thanks much, Ryan Nakan. And the Louisiana National Guard has just been amazing.
They really have.
Yeah, they have the equipment where they can ride through because they have those giant wheels on their vehicles, and it's great.
All right, let's get back to Liz Coe now. She has been stranded on I-12 with about hundreds of people. They've got water in front of them, water behind them. There's like 2 sections. They've been promised that they're going to be rescued, and I think there's some movement on that. Liz, can you hear us? What's going on?
Yes, I can hear you guys, and you guys said it, the National Guard is awesome, and as we said earlier in the show, help is on the way. Well, it's made its way here on the interstate. You can take a look here. National Guard high water vehicle rescue truck has made its way onto I-12 westbound. As you can see, there are families, children, some parents in this truck here. They've been rescued off of this bridge here behind us. They've been kind of getting as many people as they can. They just made their way here shortly, and you know, this truck, it's the only thing that's really been able to make it through. Even that citizen truck that tried to come and help earlier, even they had some trouble making their way through. But again, we said help was on the way earlier, and it's finally come. They're trying to make their way to get as many people, as many stranded motorists to safety as possible. Again, right now, this is the first round of people that we've seen right now, but the priority right now is people who may need medical attention, young children, families with needs, special needs right now. So they're trying to get as many people who have any kind of medical emergency or a lot of children, pretty much anyone who needs dire attention right now. So they're trying to get as many people as possible, but as you can see, traffic is still backed up on I-12 eastbound, standstill. People have been waiting since early this morning, but again, it's encouraging to know that help is here, and it may take a little bit, but the National Guard and Louisiana State Police, they're working to get everyone out here. Guys?
Liz, do we know, and if you said it, I apologize, where are they taking the folks? Do you know where?
The plan is to take them to. The plan is to take them to any open shelter in Livingston Parish with supplies. President Ricks was telling me earlier that earlier today some of the shelters ran out of supplies, so they were working on transporting the evacuees to other shelters with more supplies. So the plan is just to kind of distribute all the evacuees to as many shelters as they can to get the supplies they need. And again, those shelters are in Livingston Parish.
And Liz, you keep saying they, but you are a part of that they, right?
That's right. It's easy to forget that we're kind of thrown in the mix here, but we're waiting. Again, this is the first high water rescue vehicle we've seen, but still many other people on this road that need to be rescued.
Liz, you know, in warfare coverage, you embed a reporter with the troops. We did not deliberately put you in this, right? Will you assure everyone that we didn't do this to you?
What a way to kick off the first week, right? No, this is not guaranteed in any way. It just kind of happened along the way. This wasn't even a part of the plan. We were going to go to a rescue shelter, and then we got caught in traffic. So we're here now, and we're making the most of it.
Thank you, Liz. We appreciate you. We hope you get a good night's sleep tonight. And your photographer.
Thank you, guys.
Liz Coe embedded in the traffic.
Whether she wants to or not.
Yeah.
All right. When we come back, I believe we're going to check in with Jay Grimes. He has our weather forecast, the full weather forecast coming up for you, and plenty of stuff that you're going to want to see, all the numbers. He's been working on it all evening. He's got your storm fall totals, all of that coming up. Stay with us.
This is Chief Meteorologist Jay Grimes. This is Chief Meteorologist Jay Grimes from the team that promises to alert you first.
All right, now the good news is the radar gives us something to smile about, but I want you to remember that even if the rain is over, we've still got rising water along some of our main stem rivers, and even where the water is still or has stopped rising, it's going to be around for a long time. So let's go ahead and take a look at the regional view, and you'll see, check right up in here. That's kind of where the spin is. This system has really lost its organization over the last 24 hours. It's a shame it couldn't have started to fall apart, say, 4 or 5 days ago. In fact, you've got sort of one shot of energy up in North Louisiana here and another cluster of energy back in southeastern Texas, and things really are quieting down for us. In fact, you notice that essentially there's the line and there's just little rainfall to the east of it. So most of the rain now on the western side of the Atchafalaya Basin. Now, I don't want you to think that that's the way it's going to be for the next 12 to 24 hours. I think we'll still see some rain popping up during the overnight hours and off and on during the day tomorrow. Could see another ½ an inch of rain during the day tomorrow, but right now things are looking fairly good, at least from areas west of West Baton Rouge Parish. Still getting some rains that are sneaking up into the Felicianas, getting up into Wilkinson County. And this area of light to moderate rain is probably going to expand a little bit overnight tonight, but it's not going to be a real threatening kind of rain. Now let's take a look at some of the rainfall totals, mainly around the metro area. Zachary, 21.5 inches. Brownsfield at 27 inches, and we've got reports of 25 plus in places like Central and over in Watson. 23, nearly 24 inches in Denham, almost 25 inches in Livingston. These are big, big totals, no doubt about it. And when we pack it all in such a small period of time, that's why the river has risen so quickly. Let's take a look at some of the river video. In fact, this is a helicopter flight up near Watson, and one of the things we want you to pick out here is the expanse, the horizontal expanse of this flooding water. It extends for miles in either direction from what would typically be the main channel of the Amite River. So little wonder we're seeing an unprecedented need for rescues and evacuations, because not only when we talk about this rise in the river by a foot or two, what we end up with is an expansion of the coverage of the water by tens or even hundreds of square miles just along the main river. And then as it expands into some of the tributaries and other places, well, it just makes it almost, it's incredible what these first responders have been able to do in terms of getting people to safety. And this is why we're telling people downriver, if you haven't gotten out yet and you're in a place that you know is going to flood, get out of the way now. Here's our 24-hour model for rainfall. Overnight tonight and into the morning, notice our model says fairly dry across the area. I wouldn't say bone dry, but I'm only looking at about a 30% chance of rain from now into about 7 in the morning tomorrow. And then you'll notice as we animate the day through the afternoon for tomorrow, yeah, passing showers, not really worried about any kind of thunderstorm. So even these rains won't amount to much. They're not going to contribute to elevating the water level, although for many of you, just seeing rain is probably going to just add to your stress. All right, let's get over to the Comey to Jura one more time. 34 feet, should crest tonight. In fact, it will crest tonight, maybe even getting very close to crest right now. Here's the trace, and I want you to notice right towards the end here, you see how it's sloping up, and then it maybe is starting to curl around. That 34.5 looks like a good number, and by the way, we want to applaud the River Forecast Center. Many of you were a little perturbed with them back in March, where they had such trouble getting the forecasts in order. In fact, let's face it, in March they didn't do a very good job. They are nailing it now up and down the Comite and Amite River, and that includes a good bit of the Tickfaw and Tangipahoa too. Nice job, National Weather Service there. Looks like they've just about pegged the Comite, and that's, of course, good news. At least we know what we're dealing with. Now, you get over onto the Amite. Remember, red numbers mean not only is it in flood, but it is record flood. So the Denham Springs, Amite at Denham Springs, already at a record flood, expected to go to 46 officially. That's the forecast. I hate to tell you, folks, I think it could sneak maybe a couple of inches above that, the way the trend has been over the last several hours. Of course, the difference between 46 and 46.2, it's insignificant compared to the record numbers we're seeing here. By the way, another hats off to the Weather Service. Well, as a scientist, you sometimes kind of steer clear of forecasting records. You always look twice before you say you're going to break a record. But remember, these numbers aren't just breaking records, they are shattering the records. And so it took a lot of Jones here for the Weather Service to say, we're going to go this high, and in fact, it's going there. I didn't think it would get that high, and indeed it is. Same is true at Bayou Manchac. You get down to Port Vincent, 16 feet there. Folks in Ascension Parish, this is real trouble for you. And notice it is starting to really pick up speed in terms of the rate of rise. And by tomorrow, you're going to be really into trouble. And keep in mind, it's not even going to crest until Tuesday. That's a big thing to remember, as well as how long it's going to take before the middle and lower Amite gets back down below flood stage. This is going to be a prolonged event for you. All right, crossing over to the Tickfall now. Looking good, upper portion of the Tickfall. Holden, forecast is still at 24. It's not going to make it. In fact, I think this may be it. It looks to me like Holden is flattened out, maybe even beginning to show a little bit of a downward turn. That's some good news, although both of those numbers all-time records anyway, so it really doesn't matter. When we get into these all-time record numbers, there's no real sense of what does that mean. We don't have the history to evaluate what the extent of the catastrophic impacts will be. Clearly, though, that's the trouble there at Holden. And Killian, this 7-0, we're really just sort of pulling that number almost out of the air. We don't have a good long history for Killian. It could go to 7.5, but either way, we're talking about record flooding down in the bottom of the Tickfall there at Killian. So keep that in mind. And you'll notice again, these lower portion of the Tickfall is going to still be into flood well into the middle of the week. So a prolonged event there. We get over to the Tangipahoa. Robert, right at about cresting at this as we speak, may rise a little bit. It looks pretty flat when we look at the trend over about the last couple of hours or so, but it too will be into the middle and latter part of the week before those numbers really start to come down. Of course, we want to let you know what's coming up for the rest of the week too, right? 50% chance of rain tomorrow. Again, tomorrow you could see as much as a half an inch. One or two of you might get more, something closer to an inch, but many of you will come in at a quarter of an inch or less, and some of you will stay dry. So let's not worry about the rain amounts tomorrow, and even if it's raining in your backyard, I don't think you're going to need to sweat it in terms of adding to any water you've got back there. The drainage should take care of most of that. And then as we get into the rest of the week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, right into the weekend, you see it's basically back to a more summer-like hit and miss pattern. And even though those numbers might seem a little high at 50 to 60%, we're still talking about probably not more than an inch of rain through the course of the week for most of you. All right, folks, we're going to do weather one more time, and we'll hit a couple more of the rivers and the next visit. Meanwhile, we're going to take a break right now. We'll be right back.
Hey guys, we are coming to you from Walker Baptist Church. I just want to show you
All right, coming up on the 11 o'clock hour in about 40 seconds from now, we're going to continue here with our historic flooding continuing coverage here on Channel 9. We're going to go for a little while longer. We got some new things to show you.
Right, because they had so many people rescued, they had to open all kinds of evacuation shelters in Livingston Parish, and our Kieran Chawla is there.
Hey guys, we are coming to you from Walker Baptist Church. I just want to show you, take a look. There are about 100 to 125 people in here. Now they opened up the doors here about 1 o'clock. They have taken in, like I said, over 100 people. Unfortunately, they are having to turn people away, and I'll get to that in just a minute. But if I can, I want to bring in Pastor Richard Blue. Tell me as far as the amount of people you guys have here.
Okay, we have about 100 and 125 people here, probably about 25, 30 volunteers that are here from our own congregation who we got noticed at 6:30 this morning. We were asked to provide a Red Cross shelter, and our folks started immediately doing whatever we needed to do to get our facility ready to host evacuees. And about 1 o'clock, they came running in.
How quickly did you reach max capacity?
We reached it in about an hour, hour and a half.
So what are you doing now?
Okay, we sent 4 National Guard trucks to Satsuma Baptist Church they're already to capacity, we have just learned. And North Corbin Junior High on 449 north of Walker, I understand has been opened as a shelter as well.
You're helping so many people in the worst time. Explain that to me, describe that to me.
Well, that's just what it is. We're here at the time when the worst thing that could have happened to all of these families has happened. And our congregation is just showing the love of Jesus Christ to them. We're doing what we're supposed to do as Christians. We're taking them, we're loving them, hanging on to them. We weep with them, we laugh with them. We're doing whatever we need to do to help them. Our volunteers have shown up. They've taken food stores that we've reserved for food ministry here, and they are taking a little and making a lot out of it, and it is good. They're doing a good job.
Thank you so much, Pastor, for what you are doing.
And thank you also. We appreciate WAFB.
Thank you. I want to introduce you guys to an evacuee. This is a family who, it is still summer. They were actually headed to Gulf Shores from Texas, and now they are stuck in this. Let me introduce you to Melissa. Tell me about this trip.
Well, we left Dallas this morning around 2 a.m. and decided to come south instead of going straight 20, and here we are.
Did you not know this was happening at all?
No, well, we knew there was rain in Gulf Shores, but we didn't look at anything between, so.
What was your reaction to see everything?
Oh my gosh, it's unbelievable. We got turned around on the interstate, and then when we went back the other way, it was shut down both directions, so we're stuck here.
You were thinking you're headed to the Gulf Shores, and now you're taking shelter in a church. Describe what's going through your head right now.
I just feel really fortunate because unlike these people, I still have my house back home, and I have my family and our belongings, our cars, so we're very fortunate. It's the people around here that it's so sad, and they've lost everything. So
what's next for you guys?
We're just going to wait until they tell us it's safe and maybe head back up north and try to take 20 the right way if we have any time left. If not, we're headed home. So
Gulf Shores is going to have to wait.
Maybe.
Thank you guys. Just be careful. Darren, let's see if we can come walk over here. I want to show these guys. The congregation has stepped up. In fact, while we were here, we've seen people coming in with blankets and just boxes of diapers. Can we show that to you guys, Darren? We've got dog food here. They have taken in so many people. Of course, toiletries and just diapers for children, blankets, sheets, air mattresses. You're looking at everything that's just been donated by so many people. And like I said, while we've been here, people are just coming in and they're saying, you know what? Our homes did not flood, and this is our way to give back. In fact, let's see, can we show you this? Look, there's even games being donated. Can you see those way back there behind the speaker? There are even games that are being donated, the little teddy bears right below that, just to make sure the children have something to do. They always say that a picture is worth 1,000 words. This right here kind of tells you in the worst of times, Louisianians still step up and help each other. We're going to continue to bring you more. Oh, I do want to pass on. If for some reason you guys are still looking for shelter, If you're not able to make it here, there's the Satsuma Baptist Church. You can head over there, as well as Corbin Junior High. That is on your way going out of Walker. We'll continue to update you from Livingston Parish. For now, that is the latest. We'll send it back to you guys.
You know, I was thinking, we'll get to the curfews here in just 1 second. That woman was saying, you know, they were headed to Gulf Shores. They didn't think to look here. When I drive to Kentucky, I don't look at what's going on in Memphis or Birmingham if you go that way. And so I can kind of see what she was dealing with there. And maybe it's God's way of putting her here to deal with the folks here and help us out. So
if she could have gotten there, though, the weather is great there.
Yeah. Well, I hope she makes it. But they're making memories for sure. Okay, let's show those curfews now as we head to break.
This is Chief Meteorologist. This is Chief Meteorologist Jay Grimes from the team that promises to alert you first.
All right, folks, another quick look at radar just to show you that things have definitely improved across most of our area. Getting a little tighter here, and especially for the Comeet and Amite drainage, the Tickfall and the Tangipahoe. Really no raining falling over any of those basins for the time being. Now, I think overnight tonight we could see a passing shower or two, but nothing too critical. Most of you will see well under 1/4 of an inch between now and the morning. 34.0 at Comita Jor, expected to maybe go up another couple of inches or so, but we're essentially near crest, which means if you're impacted by the Comita Jor, what you're looking at right now is about all you're going to have to deal with. Now, of course, this is all-time record flooding, so I can't even imagine what that means for folks that live near the Comita. And you can see, again, just about right on target for crest tonight, and then it'll start its fall. Still going to take a little while to get below flood stage. Doesn't really happen until Monday, and that's a long time for the Comita to be in flood. Usually that's a much more flashy river. It goes up quickly, but it usually comes down quickly too. The Amite, what a mess there. Yep, we're talking about record flooding at every single one of these forecast points. And notice, by the way, crest Denham Springs tomorrow morning, a day later at Bayou Manchac, a day after that, Tuesday, before the crest reaches Port Vincent, and then late Tuesday into early Wednesday before it gets to French Settlement, and that's another impressive number, 8.5 at French Settlement. You guys have never seen anything even close to that. 8.2 was the most you saw back in 1983. Liverpool, Montpelier looking good there. As I said before, I think Holden has probably reached its crest right now. May fluctuate a bit for a while, but it will start to fall. Still, though, a record crest there. And as you get farther downriver, Killian, we're just putting 7.0, maybe even 7.5 on the board. We kind of shooting from the hip here. Just get that in your mind. That's significantly more water than you saw a few months ago. And then over on the Tangipahoa, things have steadily improved there. Robert right at about crest, and we'll say just about goodbye to that. Let's take another look at a couple of these gauges. Here you are, aiming at Denham Springs, and what we're seeing is, yeah, we're right at about crest, just like the numbers told us, but I want you to notice how long it's going to stay right at about that level. We're going to be into late Sunday, early Monday before it really starts to show any kind of fall, and then it could be into the middle of the week before it really gets down anywhere. Told you about Holden, and here's what I'm looking at. I mean, it doesn't take a real rocket scientist to realize that it is probably not going to shoot back up. Looks like Holden is probably crested. That's at least a little bit of good news over in the eastern part of Livingston Parish. Natalbany, yeah, I didn't want you folks to think we forgot about you. Looks like the gauge has failed. It has a steady climb earlier this evening, and it's definitely going to get above that forecasted crest of around 22 or so, but hopefully it'll crest out overnight tonight into the morning and start on the way back down. So that's a look there. By the way, you want to keep up with our rivers? Yeah, you can do it right here on our main page, WAFB.com, and you go right in here. You see it there, river stages. Circle that for you, and all you got to do is click on that, and it'll take you to all the rivers we show you, and a few that we sometimes don't have time to show you. All right, for tomorrow then, mid-80s, 50-50 rain chance. Even if you get some rain, it's not going to amount to much. It'll be closer to August Day, but mid-80s are still off the mark. We're normally in the low 90s. We'll get in the mid-80s during the afternoon, and yeah, rain during the day, but rain chances on the low side, and accumulations, that's probably the most important thing for you. Accumulations should be on the low side too. So we'll call it 50-50 rain chance on Sunday. You'll notice, yeah, we've got no dry days anytime soon, but each of those days next week are going to be, for most of you, fairly limited rain producers. Could see an inch, maybe an inch and a half of rain between Sunday and Friday of next week. We can manage that as long as those rivers start their fall. All right, folks, another break here, and we'll be right back.
All right, now you've been with us perhaps all day, and we don't stop now. 9 News will continue to watch the rivers, the flood levels, the rain, and we will have updates throughout the evening, and then we'll pick up wall-to-wall coverage 7 a.m. tomorrow.
Matt and Lauren Westbrook and Matt Williams will be back with you tomorrow at 7, and we'll pick up in the evening time. By the way, if you haven't done it already and you lose cable, you can get us on the WAFB app, and if you want to know our weather, you can also get that by texting the word weather app to 99009. We'll also be simulcasting, we think, on the radio tomorrow, Talk 107.3.
The Advocate is letting us predict the future by showing their front page tomorrow. This is what your Advocate will look like.
How about that? That is, well, that's something that you'll want to show your children one day, or just remind them that they lived through it. It says state of disaster. That's a picture of downtown Denham Springs, all covered in water.
Flooding of historic proportions devastates much of South Louisiana, and we're all feeling it, but we're all going to recover, and we're going to keep pounding. That's what we'll do.